Hello and welcome to Cabalvision HD's Bico League show brought to you by Bloodweiser. This is your one-stop shop for all of the amazing and exciting action in the past week of Bico League. I'm your host Jim, and I'm joined as always by the second fastest big guy in Bico League, Leslie Flowers,
Hello.
and also the master of hot takes and old veteran coach here to give us young guys some wisdom, Mr. Skulls.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Now, it is time for us to start the recap section of the show, where we go across all of the latest games that just happened in Week 8 of Bico League. Leslie, let's start with you. SHG's The Twitch Gamers 3-0 victory over Manlit's British Museum OEIs. What on earth happened here?
An absolute thrashing was dished out this match, a result the Vampires seemed confident they would achieve as they decided to play a silly little game of catch in the backfield before even trying to score a touchdown. But once their fun was had, they immediately got to work pulling out a clean turn for a touchdown. No stalling or nothing. The remainder of the half was a brutal struggle for the Moyais, fighting tooth and claw to the touchdown line, and with an injury on Skyrim 6 mods, they very nearly made it. With McLovin, played tutorial, getting ready to throw the ball to library workout before remembering that goblins, despite making up only 13% of the Under Empire, contribute to just over 50% of their Blood Bowl injuries. Not wanting to entrust the ball to such a fragile race, he tries to throw it to a less than ideally placed Skaven, where the ball is then intercepted, denying a touchdown entirely, leaving the first half at 1-0. The first part of the second half was just a stock standard Blood Bowl. Vampires wrestle control of the ball, score a touchdown, but the second half starts off with a pitch invasion, and what a pitch invasion it was. 9 players are stunned from the Inferior, 2 thralls, a Skaven, and 6 goblins. That's right. Every single goblin on the field was stunned. Perhaps McLovin was onto something.
Well, the whole stadium rolled racism.
Maybe. Nuffle works in mysterious ways.
Greenskins just can't catch a break.
In any case, the Moyais were left in a disastrous position at the start of the drive, which all but guarantees the third and final touchdown in the match for the Twitch gamers.
Was it a good match?
I mean, this match was odd to me. Everything just felt off. The confidence, the racism, the pitch invasion. Look, I'm not going to go full conspiracy theory on you all. Like, I'll leave that sort of investigation to Leopold Bottomfiend. But I just can't shake the feeling that Coach SHG knew something we didn't.
I mean, certainly any vampire victory is odd in and of itself.
Sure, but I think you're right. I think Coach SHG knew that a new Hearts of Iron 4 expansion had just been released. All right, sounds like an excellent game. Well, Mr. Skulls, you were also at... Oh, well, I don't know if it was an excellent game. I need you to tell me. Fox's Parkour Pros 2-2 tie with Leo's Bulging's BBC number 4. I mean, is a tie a deserved result in this case?
Yeah, this match was supposed to be a decisive one. Coach Fox and Coach Leo were tied for last place coming into this. And yeah, as you have spoiled the result, they continue to be tied for last place. But nonetheless, this was very much a hyped game, as these two coaches are known for their very, how to put it, unorthodox plays. Dog shit might be a better descriptor. But put them head to head, and you're bound to get a dog shit storm, which is at the very least very entertaining. Except that, ladies and gentlemen, I just lied to you. Because Leo continues to exceed expectations by making a cage turn 1. Riveting stuff.
And the cage had the ball.
Indeed it did. Just like Jim's balls, I must say. They are in a cage.
Whoa, hey, yo. Oh, I'll let you continue, but I want to on the record that is not anything that has ever happened. Okay? And I am
And
not a certain commentator who commentates matches. I am Jim, the host. Very different people.
yeah. And just like Jim's balls, nothing to write home about, as though the orcs put up a pretty violent defense. They could not stop the BBCs, and midway through the first half, Leo opens the score. Now, I have to say, this match was refereed by one of the newer refs on the staff. And let me tell you, he's certainly not like the one frequenting Coach Capri's matches. I dare say I saw that bugger sweating when some particularly rowdy fans were eyeing him up. I reckon he overlooked some things on both sides, let some questionable things slide, but hey, we're here to be entertained. Extra windfall for Coach Fox as well, as he gets a touchback and immediately cages up as well. And pretty much the same thing that happened before happens again, but in reverse, and the Orcs tied the game just in time for the second half.
Mm.
Fox gets the ball this time, but after a bit of a scuffle in the midfield, the coolest Daniel slips through and yoinks it from Rob Beef, and with some timely help from his teammates, clutches a second down. Fox again on the offensive and gets another touchback and runs up through the open wing, forming a half cage on the edge. An effective but very risky play. The BBCs try to respond but are overwhelmed by the green might. Just as the
Mm.
ball carrier was making a 4 block long jump towards the touchdown line, Touchdown Machine 4000 tries to blitz him, but rolls some unfortunate double skulls and falls on his ass, securing a 2-2 tie.
Mm.
I gotta say, man, this even though I said before that it was not that riveting, this match was a delight to watch. Much as I am a
Wait, you just lied. You just
Yeah,
lied
I
to us
just
before.
lied, just like I said, ladies
Wow,
and
Mr.
gentlemen, I'm
Scott.
lying. Much as I am a proponent of dumbass plays and violence, I am happy to see our two coaches at the bottom. They're managing to play a good strategic game of Blood Bowl. And even though a tie might seem like a lame result, I have to say that it's a deserved tie for both of them.
Mm. That's fair. That's fair. Though it does mean that yeah, they're still tied in bottom place.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's leave no delay. I'm gonna head back to Leslie, who was watching a bit of a weird match. Because of everything we talked about last week and Dr. WTF's, that's the coach of the baseless accusations, withdrawal from the league. The Bico League Commission took over and went up against Capri, who was able to get a 1-0 victory. But that result has been amended. This is all a weird spot. Leslie, you gotta help me with this. What happened?
Well, Jim, it's not easy to give a committee of faceless suits a personality, but the new temporary management of baseless accusations seem determined to show that they ain't no slouches at giving orders on the pitch. A strong opener making great use of the Wish Elf Takashi69 had me optimistic about the direction of this match, and the Elves might actually put up a good fight. However, these foolish ideas were torn to shreds in the way of 2 KOs and an injury for the Elves and a defensive touchdown for the Saurus minority quota filler for the first half. Things were looking to go the same way for the second half up until the very end, on which I would like to thank all of our die-hard fans for raving about this because I actually had fallen asleep twice trying to watch this game while writing this report, but on turn 14, after suffering 2 red cards, another injury, and the death of Donald J. Trump, the Dark Elves...
Rest in peace.
Yeah, Rip King. The Dark Elves managed to get possession of the ball mere yards away from their own touchdown line and throw it to Aubrey Drake Graham standing near the scrimmage line. He managed to catch the ball and start sprinting down the field practically unopposed. A gaggle of skinks start to pursue him, which they succeed in after a botched order of operations by the Commission, who attempt to dodge out an unrelated Dark Elf instead of moving the ball carrier the 7 squares he could do without going for it and touchdown. But the Skinks botch the block action, only managing to push him sideways. All Graham has to do is dodge out and touch down. But he botches the dodge. Going in the opposite direction to the touchdown line, he wastes enough movement so that he cannot actually reach the touchdown line, failing to tie up the game, leading to Creighton Community College's victory at 1-0. Yeah, I mean, as you said, like, most of the interesting parts for this match happened apparently behind closed doors than on any actual Blood Bowl field. You were there.
I was there for some talk after. So this match, basically, essentially, because of a lot of questions have been raised about Aubrey Graham's backwards dodge. You know, what did that mean? Would on turn 50, like how does that happen? And in light of these questions, Coach Capri, not knowing about the sanctity of the match, has elected to take this as a tie and not a win, feeling that that's the result it should have been. It should also note, however, that 4 to 5 turns previously, a skink had the ball on the touchdown line to make it 2-0, and they didn't score because for 3 to 4 turns, the skink was trying to get it to a Saurus, who refused to pick it up, allowing the witch elf to sneak in and pass through. So while this was a 1-0 victory for Capri over Doc, in terms of standings, this counts as a 1-1 tie.
Truly hubris all around.
Now, another match that I was at was Moon's 1-0 victory. This is Hard Rock 105.2 Hard Rock Cabal's 1-0 victory over Idosian's My Anime Figures. Now, sadly, because of scheduling issues, this match had to be played with virtually no audience. The Cabal began with the ball, and as is tradition for Coach Moon, he instructs his star bull centaur Radioactive to pick up the ball and to begin to advance down the field. The Amazons put up a dogged fight, even being able to knock the ball out of Radioactive's hands. However, key movement of some of the Chaos Dwarfs mean that even with that, the ball is open enough for Radioactive to grab a hold of it again. Then we see something quite rare from the Cabal: a handoff play. While the melee was taking place, Coach Moon had ordered his second bull centaur, Enemy, to move between the scrum and the touchdown line. When Radioactive got through, he handed it off to Enemy, who then ran it into the end zone for the first and only score of the match. It wasn't all good news for the Chaos Dwarfs, however. Foghorn, wah, the Hobgoblin, got smashed to the ground, and after his heart stopped beating, Coach Moon elected to let him die, saving the Apothecary for perhaps a more valuable player later on. Foghorn is the newest inductee into Jim's RIP Bozo Corner, where he may dine in hell with Ghislaine Maxwell. Also, for the record, Donald J. Trump is not admitted because little birdie reports he might be getting resurrected. Idosian, being able to score some nice injuries at the end of the half himself, had his offense sputter out against a brute wall of Idosian, being able to score some nice injuries at the end of the half, had his offense sputter out against the brute wall of the dwarfs. Shimakaze nearly joined Foghorn in crossing the river Styx. However, the Amazons' coach is perhaps more protective of his players, making use of the Apothecary. Very interesting considering she already had an armor value injury. Many coaches would have just cut her. I guess that's the emotional support of My Anime Figures. He doesn't want to let any of them go. The drive culminated in a ball near the Cabal's touchdown line and several free Amazons with only Radioactive marking it. But Mika Jogaski was unable to pick it up, and the match was finished. Angel Granny Station picked up an MVP, allowing him to gain an armor value level up, making him the most resilient hobgoblin around. Oshino Shinobu also leveled up due to an MVP, the 5 movement throw with a smashed ankle picking up through her hands. so she can't move around as much, but she's a thrower.
Throw it back, am I right?
That's why we have him on the show, ladies and gentlemen. All right, and now Mr. Skulls for perhaps the marquee match. Maybe, maybe not. Sleepy's Shuriman University's 1-1 tie against Maurice's Natural Born Fowlers. A crazy upset?
Indeed. This match was always bound to be a doozy. It's always a treat to see Coach Maurice and Coach Sleepy on the pitch, two of the most decorated coaches out there with some of the longest running careers of all of them. Certainly this time it was Maurice who was the favorite with his souped up Fowlers, but doubtless Sleepy would be sure to put up a fight against his ancient rival. And boy did he. This must have been one of the bloodiest matches of the season. Injury after injury, KO after KO. It was a real meat slapper of a match.
Mm.
It started immediately with plenty of action, lots of punches flying around, and the first critical blunder was made when General Macklemore had to re-roll to dodge out, only to trip and eat shit and get stunned. The ball is then secured by the Ogres, but the Fowlers defend well enough to bar them from scoring, first half ending in 0-0. The other reason why they couldn't score is because they only had 5 fucking players on the pitch. Because Menace to Society, Family Man went to town this half. Imagine 3 injured Nobblers, 2 KO'd ones, and an injured Ogre in the dugout. Choppers were no
Mm.
slouches either. 2 injured Fowlers, a KO'd one, and a send off is quite rough as well. Gotta say, the pitch was looking like this was a game of sevens.
It's an excellent reference.
That's the deep cut.
Sorry, I don't get it.
For the ladies and gentlemen at home, sevens is when you play Blood Bowl with 7 players, and it's a smaller pitch and it's faster.
It's like all positionals.
Yeah.
So I'm just, it's a lot funny. I just wasn't expecting a Sevens reference.
Anyway,
Sorry.
um, second half starts with Maurice at a player disadvantage, which only gets worse as video essayist also gets injured frame one, and the Ogres take advantage of their offensive drive to score an, albeit doggedly contested by the Fowlers, easy touchdown, putting Sleepy in the lead and leaving Maurice 5 turns for a comeback. And the comeback was in the cards as Family Man kept doing what he's good at, and another 3 Nobblers were now out of the picture. Not like it mattered though, as a massive blunder from Coach Sleepy leads to a trivial 1-1. It was like this. Setup happens, kick happens, and the ball's landing on Robbie, who is, for whatever reason that only Coach Maurice know, way out on the edge of a wing on the scrim line. Sleepy gets to draw another legal defense at kickoff, so of course he stacks all his ogres in there to beat Robbie into paste.
Of
What he
course.
doesn't realize is, and what ends up happening, is that the ball on the screen, being on the screen line, means the ball can bounce in his half and touch back, which means Maurice can throw the ball to a player on the opposite end, and he just runs it down. And because Coach Sleepy did not have any Nobblers on account of Family Man not being a very wholesome, family oriented man after all. He couldn't contest it. But yeah, a 1-1 tie on the side of the Fowlers is quite a disastrous result. Um, Although I still think unless they drop the ball and tie or lose next week, they are still
Whoa,
in
whoa, whoa,
line
we
to
gotta
keep
hold
going.
it. There's a whole section about this coming up.
Ah, well, a little spoiler for you, ladies and gentlemen.
When we say
As an aside,
spoiler,
I
isn't
have
it
to
like literally next?
is you know, and as a last aside, I have to say, Family Man did indeed finish his lofty goal, he achieved his vendetta of total noblar death, injuring or KOing every single one of them. None of them were left on the pitch at the end.
Apparently, some of the Noblars have been in contact with a shady underworld organization that has some links to a certain friend of the show, Mr. Tony Rat, Sir Tony Rat, allow me, to perhaps organize a form of bounty on Family Man's head for the mass genocide he had done to all Noblars this
Maybe,
match.
maybe. Well, greenskins don't unionize officially, so when they need something done, they pitch together.
For sure. For sure. All right. And with all of that, let's go through the current Week 8 power rankings. In first place, we have Moonbear's Hard Rock Cabal, 5 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss on head-to-head victory against Maurice's Natural Born Fowlers, also 5 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss. Also tied with Capri's Credit Community College at 5 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss. Idojin's My Anime Figures are in fourth with 3 wins, 3 draws, and 2 losses. Sleepy Shuriman University and SHG's The Twitch Gamers are both tied. 2 wins, 4 draws, and 2 losses. For 5th and 6th, Manless British Museum Moyais are in 7th with 2 wins, 1 draw, and 5 losses. And then Bulging's BBC4 from Coach Leo and Coach Fox's Parkour Pros are in 8th and 9th with 1 win, 2 draws, and 5 losses. Let's move to a quick segment that I like to call Jim's Crystal Ball of Possibilities. Name subject to change. With one more match week to go, I'd like to quickly discuss all of the permutations that could happen for the final rankings and, crucially, for the crown seedings. For the 9 remaining coaches, movement is pretty restricted with one exception, in groups of 3. That is, for the top 3 coaches, the middle 3, and the bottom 3. For all the coaches in the top 3, that is, all the coaches tied in first place, the rankings are in order of head-to-head scoring, followed by touchdown difference. If Moon wins his match, he wins the league. If he draws and Maurice or Capri win, they will win, in that order. Maurice wins if both Capri and Maurice win the matches. If both Moon and Maurice draw and Capri wins, he'll win the league. And Maurice and Moon both win and Capri does, he wins the season. In 4th place, Dojin looks pretty stable, but if either Sleepy or SHG win, they will leapfrog his position, assuming he can't win. If both win, then it looks like SHG will come out ahead on Coach Sleepy on touchdown difference, but he has a tough matchup. So Dojin could possibly sink down to 6th, but he can't move up any. For the lowest 3, Manlet is in the lead with 7th, and if he wins, he will jump up possibly into the next 3rd. But if not, and Leo and or Fox win due to their higher number of ties, they will leapfrog Manlet. The bottom 2 coaches, that is 8th and 9th, have to do a play-in match to qualify for the crown. So there are a lot of stakes on that illustrious 7th spot. That is the spot that Manlet currently holds. Do any of you have any questions?
God, that was fucking boring.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys.
I'm not here for numbers, Jim. I'm here for blood.
Yeah, I'm
This
here
is
for
all
gold.
important. This is the spots for the crown, you guys. You don't appreciate numbers. You don't see it. You don't see it like I do.
Apparently
that's why
not,
we
Jim.
have you on
Apparently.
payroll.
I'm more than just a numbers guy. I swear, I have hobbies.
Oh yeah, name 3.
I like Bloodfall.
Okay, that's
I
1.
like numbers.
Fuck.
That's barely a hobby. This is a Blood Bowl podcast. Fucking that doesn't count.
Bully Gym Week?
Yes.
Aren't I like technically your guys' bosses? Kind of. Well,
What the fuck are you
Are
gonna do
you?
about it, huh?
I don't know. We haven't really figured that
I've
out.
got to be honest, I haven't seen my contract in a very long time.
I haven't
Wait,
even
you guys
gotten
have
paid yet.
contracts? I just come here for the love. The hell?
So then how are
Right,
you my boss?
We'll talk about this after. We'll talk about this after the show. Let's move on. Just before we wrap up, let's take a quick minute to look ahead to our Week 8 matches. Dojin versus Capri. Leslie, who do you think is going to come out here?
Do you really have to ask?
Okay, moving on. Sleepy versus Leo. Mr. Skulls, what do you think is going to happen here?
Well, this one's about to, like, as usual, this one I think is bound to be the fucked up one of the week. Because, Nobblers are tricky, man. They're slippery. Although after the fucking pounding that they got this week, I don't know how many of them Coach Sleepy has left. Leo might be able to sneak another win here if the ogres bonehead too much.
All right, Leslie. Coach Maurice is going up against Coach Manlet. Who do you think's coming out here?
I mean, short of some goblin shenanigans, I don't see this going too well for Manlet. But, I mean, look, I said at basically the start of this league, I'm holding out hope for Library Workout. This could be his time to shine.
Perhaps it is. Okay. Mr. Skulls. Coach Moon versus Coach SHG. I mean, this is the big one, right?
Indeed, this is a big one, and this is a very uncertain one. Coach SHG has now been supercharged with a lot of level ups. His vampires are threats to be reckoned with. And while Coach Moon has been on a has had a very strong season. Now at the tail end, he started to slip up. He got a couple of dies he won a loss, so Coach SHG might just run enough circles around him to clutch a victory.
And finally, Coach Fox against the Bico League Commission. The Bico League Commission did release a statement following their match against Capri, saying that they have addressed some of the concerns and some of the issues, and hope that even though that the team itself is punished with no rerolls and their best player being cut, they are allowed to resurrect all of their players who were injured and died in the previous match to maintain their team value. So they said they have learned from their mistakes and are actually trying to be competitive this match. So Fox might not be as easy as he thinks, but still, he's going up against a team with no rerolls. So I think it's safe to say he should win this. And now, sadly, it is time for our show to end. Thank you all very much for listening to Cabalvision HD's Bico League show presented by Bloodwiser. Thank you for joining us, Leslie.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Skulls.
Goodbye.
Stay tuned for the Week 9 broadcast coming to your crystal ball soon. I've been Jim, and happy bowling.